we alternate. Sometimes we use it. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups El Paso. I'd like to introduce our organizers. First, we have Eric Bischoff, Serena Harper, Esther Lopez, Leslie Lanier, Nancy Lowry, hovering in the back there, and I'm Ernesto Gamboa. And again, welcome. Who's here for the first time? Show of hands. Great, welcome. We always would like to start with a short introductory. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to turn it over to Omar Chavez of Digital Bull and Borderland TV to talk about our live stream.
Hi everyone, my name is Omar Chavez and I'm with Borderland TV and we are the company that's responsible for doing the live broadcast. So I just wanted to tell you guys and invite you to go onto your Facebook pages and go into the page for the Hub of Human Innovation and go ahead and share the live stream so that way we can start spreading the word and grow this thing big and get more people on board to start watching. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Omar. And by the way, if it doesn't sound like the microphone is working, this is for the live stream, so you're really not going to hear an application here live. We'd like to start with a short video on 1 Million Cups. Great, so that's the purpose of 1 Million Cups. We want to bring entrepreneurs together, help them network, and also help them be educated, learning from other people's entrepreneurial journey. So every week, we do bring in 2 entrepreneurs and have them talk about their entrepreneurial journey. And then you all get to ask them questions during a 15-minute Q&A, and that's the real value add, where you can get in the weeds with them, talk to them, and say, hey, challenge some of their assumptions, provide valuable feedback, and that sort of thing. So also we'd like to go a shout out to our sponsors. The delicious coffee is by Krispy Kreme. No donuts, just a coffee. So Krispy Kreme, our venue sponsor, the Hub of Human Innovation where we are today. And then of course the media sponsor we already talked about, Borderland TV and Digital Bull. Please do download the mobile app and check in. The mobile app has a feature where you can provide feedback to the presenters even after the fact. So that's a really cool thing. And then join the community at 1millioncups.org/El Paso and follow us on Facebook and Twitter sites. And with that, I'll bring up our first presenter, the Libre initiative.
Okay, good morning everyone. Yes. Okay. My name is Carla Sierra. I'm the Texas Director for the Libre Initiative. Thank you to the Hub and Ernesto for allowing me to be here this morning. I hope it will provide a little bit of insight of our nonprofit organization. And I don't have too much content on these slides. I really just wanted to give you a preview of some of the things that we've done in the community. Before I get started, I want to give you just a little bit of synopsis of who I am and where I'm from and why Libre is so important to me. So I am a native El Pasoan. My grandparents migrated over from Mexico, Torreon, Jalisco, Aguascalientes, many decades ago. And so I come from a very long line of servant leadership. My grandfather worked in EPISD for a custodian for several years when he retired. I still hear my grandmother talk about how she canned sardines here in El Paso, when she was younger, trying to provide for my aunts and uncles. So those are some really great stories that they're able to share with me. My mother recently retired from the El Paso Police Department after about 25 years serving our community. So I do come from a very long line of servants, so I am passionate about that. And I always joke with people and tell them that I was kind of forced into being a servant because I'm the oldest of 8, so I really have no other option. I had to take care of them and watch over my siblings. The youngest one is 11, so I'm still kind of watching out for them. So it's a really great opportunity for me to grow and just kind of be responsible over them. As I mentioned, I am native El Pasoan. Like some El Pasoans, I was a little pessimistic of the opportunities that El Paso had to offer. So once I graduated from Malwood High School, I actually ventured off into Colorado where I did my undergraduate studies in business and computer information systems. During that time, I learned about a small nonprofit. You all may have heard of it, the Peace Corps, if anyone's familiar with that. I just became very passionate about being able to serve others and serve communities. I applied to the Peace Corps, which is a kind of a long, treacherous process. It takes a lot of interviews and a lot of medical exams and things like that before they actually allow you to be a part of the Peace Corps. I served there for 3 years in Panama, so I was in 2 different communities, away from my family, and many, of course, asked me, why in the world would you want to do that? Why would you want to leave your family and the comfort of the States to go to another country to help other people? And the answer to that question is that, as I mentioned before, I'm just passionate about serving people, about serving other communities, and so I was really able to grow during that experience and kind of find myself, if you will, and just learn what I was passionate about. During my time in the Peace Corps, I was able to help a fishing cooperative. And because of my background, their goal was to create a sustainable project in their community, which was to earn grant money from the United Nations program so that they could create a sustainable fishing cooperative in their community, provide opportunities for their family, bring income into their community. We were successful in that project. I helped them with business planning, mission statement, objectives, working in teams because that's kind of difficult for folks who have never encountered that before. So that's one of the things that I did over in Panama. Once I came over to the States, I was still kind of yearning to work for an organization that provided me those same opportunities. So working with a community, integrating myself into community, and a very grassroots efforts organization. So upon that time, when I was kind of job searching, I came across the Libre initiative. We are part of a larger organization, which is called Freedom Partners. If any of you are familiar with other organizations that we're a part of, we come from a long line of organizations. So Libre Initiative, Libre Institute, Concerned Veterans of America, and Generation Opportunity, all which serve different demographics. So Libre Initiative, the reason that we're here in El Paso is because we primarily work with the Hispanic community. So we try to provide tools and resources for the Hispanic community that might allow them to prosper. Concerned Veterans for America, they're obviously more heavily involved with working with military and veterans, and Generation Opportunity, they work more heavily with millennials. We are a national organization that caters to a lot of different demographics. So we really try to touch upon every single demographic that's available for us to work with. But the underlying objective or mission of Libre is to really do community building. So we're a very grassroots effort organization. I get out into the community. I meet with schools, I meet with educators, I meet with entrepreneurs and business owners. Any venue that really allows me to talk to folks about Libre and some of the opportunities that we have to collaborate with one another. We've only been in El Paso for a year and a half now, so we're still very new here in El Paso. Libre actually just turned 6 years old yesterday, so that's a huge accomplishment for us. A lot of nonprofits, it's hit or miss, unfortunately, just because of the funding and things like that. You never know how long we're going to be around. So yesterday was our 6th birthday, so a huge milestone for us. So one of the things that I have been fortunate of is being a partner in education with Socorro District. And so what that allows me to do is get out into high schools primarily and encourage students to become volunteers, or come out and help us at an event and just talk to folks about some of the initiatives that Libre is doing around the community. So other things that we have done besides building, volunteers, we do also collaborate in donations, providing any materials or resources that schools or anyone might need, any other organization, whether it's a nonprofit or for-profit. We have provided financial literacy workshops. Those have been very beneficial. If any of you are familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's a financial guru, and we do use a lot of his curriculum to that. Everything that we provide for the community is free of charge. We don't charge anything. Food, door prizes, anything like that, we provide that 100%. All we're really looking for is for people to collaborate with. I did leave some business cards and flyers in the front of our upcoming event that's in August. We also bring in guest speakers that kind of talk about the different just to kind of educate and enlighten folks about some of the things that are going on around our country. And so with all that being said, I know I've run out of time, but thank you so much for the opportunity, and I appreciate your feedback and questions.
Yes, we have 15 minutes for Q&A now, please.
Yes, sir.
So can you explain exactly what you do in the Libre?
Of course. So my role is the Texas director. So I actually oversee all of the Libre directors in Texas. Currently, we have one in Houston, one in San Antonio, myself here in El Paso, and then we're looking to expand into Rio Grande Valley and Corpus Christi. Yes, ma'am.
Can you give a mission statement, what exactly Libre's mission is?
Of course. So our mission statement essentially is to educate folks on free market principles that allow them to prosper. So any tools and resources that we can provide for them, which is primarily educational, educational factors, guest speakers, financial literacy workshops, anything like that, that's pretty much our mission statement. So if we're able to provide some kind of workshop or seminar that's going to help the community, we typically tend to do that. Anything like that is really our mission, is to kind of empower people in those terms. I mean, all of you have heard the cliche, knowledge is power, so that's really what we're trying to do. We don't really ask for any funding. We are completely self-sufficient in that nature. But obviously there have been some obstacles here in El Paso, especially when you bring up things like free market principles and things like that. So that has been a very huge challenge for me, but I have been fortunate to where I want Libre to be inclusive. I don't want anyone to feel like they cannot be a part of Libre for whatever reason or another. So I'm willing to work with just about anyone that's willing to sit down and have a conversation with me. If they're open to some of the ideas that we have, then that's really been beneficial for me in the last year and a half or so. Yes, sir.
Something you just said, maybe stop for a moment. You said that money isn't an issue.
Yes, sir.
Most nonprofits, especially new nonprofits, money is always an issue.
Correct.
How is money not an issue for you?
And I will tell you why. We're, like I mentioned, we're part of a larger network, which is Freedom Partners Network. Within those organizations, we all kind of sustain each other. We were initially funded by the Koch brothers, and so they allowed us, funding to start the Libre initiative. And so as we have grown over the years, Libre is actually our newest organization under Freedom Partner Network. Other organizations have been around a lot longer. And so over the years, we've been able to get out into the community and really talk to people and show people what we've been doing. Excuse me. So, in terms of funding, we have been successful in that area where people really do believe in the mission and vision that we have. And we are out there. We have boots on the ground. We're a very grassroots-oriented organization, so we're out there talking to folks every single day about who we are, what we do, and some of the opportunities that we have for folks. Yes, ma'am.
So, what have been some of the biggest obstacles that you faced teaching free market principles to El Paso?
Well, as many of you know, politics is politics, and so. No matter what part of the country you're from, everyone's going to have their own opinion, depending on where they come from, their values, their morals, their political stance. We are a nonpartisan organization, and that's really what we strive for. We don't want to get into the politics of, what people believe in, whether it's a blue state, a red city, or a blue city. And a lot of people do talk about that. And to be quite honest, that has been a challenge here in El Paso because I want to educate people and show them that we really are trying to inform folks about some of the opportunities that they have and that we're willing to provide. It has nothing to do with us trying to, we just really want to be transparent. And as I've told people in the past, if these are some of our mission, vision, objectives, or any of our seminars or workshops, if you don't agree with them, then you have you can make that choice and not attend or just not be a part of what we're doing. And yes, quite frankly, I have had people ask me to leave their office and things like that. But unfortunately, that's just part of the territory when we are trying to teach folks about free market principles. Yes, sir.
What can you teach us about free market principles?
Well, essentially, our I didn't bring my banner today, but essentially our whole kind of logo, I guess you will, is limited government, unlimited opportunity. And we're not saying no government, we're just saying that people should really be educated in some of the restrictions or limitations that the government puts over us. Many of you in this room are entrepreneurs or homeowners, you know about property taxes, you know about marginal taxes, you know about some of those things that that maybe people aren't too educated about. So if we can provide more information for folks to be able to be more knowledgeable about some of those topics, then we would like to provide those resources. Yes, ma'am.
So what would the end goal then be of the initiative?
Our end goal is to really kind of build, obviously build community, educate folks that are willing to come to our workshops. You know, we have been very successful with some workshops that we've put together here in El Paso, and also allow folks to engage with us and maybe be volunteers with us. So we do have volunteer opportunities. I've been very fortunate that these are actually my group of volunteers, there's a few missing, but I have about 19 to 20 high school students who we actually provided a 5-month financial literacy workshop for about 42 students at Wildwood High School. This was a long-term project. It took a lot of effort, a lot of work, but in the end, once we educated them on managing debt, saving for college, how important it is to be able to save and provide for your family, they kind of understood why Libre existed. And even though it took 5 months or 6 months for them to say, you know what, Carla, I'd like to volunteer, how can I help Libre? For me, in the end, it was worth it. I mean, I'm able to kind of build relationships with these students, and they have been with me since May already. So that's kind of a great goal to have, or a great accomplishment with high school students who are willing to work with me for over their summer break and actually what we did also is we provided an internship opportunity for them. So we provide, unfortunately it's not paid at the moment, but a summer internship that allows them to get out of the community, talk to folks about Libre. We do a lot of fun activities. I don't know if they'll come up, but we take them to baseball games and things like that. Sorry, it's not. But it isn't just about what they're providing for me or Libre. The relationship really is reciprocal. So if there's a need that I can help them with, maybe they're part of like SG or Student Council or another organization. That's really why our relationship has been so successful with those high school students. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Within your group, I know you're part here in El Paso, but do you have other people working with you as well?
Here in El Paso, no. Primarily it's myself, and then mostly volunteers that help me here. And this pretty much the same goes for other parts of the state. Our headquarters are in DC, so we do have a larger staff there. But pretty much people in different cities or around the country. It's just typically one director, and then hoping to recruit volunteers that will help them with their efforts. If it just gets too big in an area, we typically do have an assistant or a couple of assistants that help us with some logistics.
Any other questions? Okay, the final question, what can we as a community do to help you?
Sure, so as I mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities to collaborate with us. We have been very, very creative in what we're able to do. So if there's a need that we can fill, maybe you're part of another nonprofit, and we can help you in some way, we would love that. If you attend one of our events, I do have flyers at the front. Our next event is in August. Free food, door prizes, so we really try to make it engaging for community members that go. But if you're interested in volunteering, that's really my ultimate goal is that you believe in what we're doing and you'd like to come out and help us with volunteering and things that we do. Right?
Great, thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Actually, the last time I went to their event, I got a cool door prize. I got a $25 gift card to Barnes & Noble, so that's pretty decent, right? So now we have time for some community announcements. Is there anybody that would like to make a community announcement? Anyone? Okay, then I'll do it. First, So El Paso is looking for a part-time marketing blogger position in downtown El Paso, 13.5 hours a week. If you are interested, please let us know. We have more information on that job opportunity. Next, the U.S. Green Building Council is having a lunch and learns on tomorrow, Thursday, July 27th, 11:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. here at the Hub of Human Innovation. The topic will be infrastructure, resilience, and public space, and they are offering continuing education credit for that. Next, the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Hablemos del Dinero. Let's talk about the money. Thursday, July 27th, also tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Wells Fargo Bassett location. Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at this thing. Next, every Thursday morning, it's a free business networking breakfast with friends, 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Carnitas Querétaro, 9077 Gateway West. The Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce is hosting the Governor's Small Business Forum, August 10th, 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the El Paso Convention Center. NMSU Arrowhead Center is doing Cultivating Innovation in Agriculture, August 10th in Las Cruces from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Museum. Next, the Rio Grande Council of Governments and the HUD Institute is having an event, Getting El Paso Ready for the 2020 Census, How Our Community Can Prepare. That'll be Tuesday, August 23rd, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the El Paso Environmental Services Department, 7968 San Paulo. That's over by Yarborough. So if you're interested in any of those events, please let us know. Oh, I think we have one more. SCORE, the Service Corps Retired Executives, is having a pre-business workshop together with the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce, Thursday, August 24th from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce, and the special topic is the business franchising option, is it right for you? Okay, so with that, we always give out we have a little prize with a travel mug. Who's here from out of town? Anyone? Oh, we have two. Who came from further away?
We came together.
Do you guys want to share a mug? Here you go.
No, we want two.
Wait a second, who drove?
You guys can arm wrestle over
She
it.
drove.
Does it have a lid? I'm very messy, so if it has a lid,
It does have a lid.
I should get it.
Okay, with that, we'll bring up our second presenter, Joe Orty with the Hub of Human Innovation.
Right, oh, there we go. Good morning.
Morning.
We've been hosting this since January 25th, the first event, and has been on the list and waiting anxiously for us to get to present so that you know what we do. Okay, my name is Joe Orty. I'm the president and CEO of the Hub of Human Innovation. I'd like to introduce all of our staff. Nancy Lowry, who's in the back, is on the committee, and she's the vice president of operations. Nancy, wave in the back there. Ernesto Gamboa, who is the MC, is also a vital part of the staff of the Hub of Human Innovation. We have Leslie Frazier, who's our administrative assistant, and two very competent interns from UTEP, Nicole and Ryan. So, what do we do? Okay, start, build, and grow. We are here to help as part of the economic development model of this community. And it is vital, most progressive cities and cities that are moving forward have business incubators. Because it's very difficult today to start a business. People have an idea and then they get lost. What do I do next? Well, we can help you answer those questions. And I'm supposed to have a clicker and I do not. Okay, let's go, let's try this button. All right, I'm only going to use 2 slides, so this is easy and I'll keep it short and I'll tell you how I got here because that's an important part of Million Cups. So what do? Mentoring. We follow the MRT mentoring model. We have some mentors here in the room. Dr. Gary Williams, who was the chair of our board, is a mentor. Pancho Mangan, who has tremendous economic development and business experience, is one of our mentors. We have about 20 professionals from every background that volunteer to work with people that come to the Hub in the specialty that they need help with. Could be legal, could be financial, could be manufacturing or engineering. We have people that volunteer their time and will sit down specifically to sit down with our clients and help them through some of their difficult processes. Critical connections. Between our board members, our mentors, and the Hub staff, we have the ability to introduce people that come here to people that can help them. And you'd be surprised how many people know that they have to pay it forward. That somebody helped them and they're willing to discuss some things that help people launch themselves. Okay, and so it's very important. And then we have seminars and workshops throughout the year, and most of them are free, to help people that want to be innovators and entrepreneurs on legal issues, on patent and trademark, on what they need to do to form a company, on non-traditional financial resources. We have a number, probably 10 to 12 different seminars and workshops. How did I get here? I am a bootstrap entrepreneur. I helped create a transportation company in 1985. But I'm not the designer of the idea. It was not my idea. I was the first employee hired to take the idea and to launch it. So they had used some resources from 2 companies to incubate the idea, and it was successful. And so I was the first person hired. So it was, the idea was innovative, but then the execution is what separates those of us that go forward. So we had a great track record, and we stayed on the cutting edge of innovation and didn't get, I want to call it, you can get romanced by growing out of your shoes, and you can get out of what you do very easily. So you have to be very disciplined in your approach to what you do, because you have choices. And many times we're confused by the choices. So I helped, that company ended up being a large transportation company, engineered a merger with 2 other affiliated companies, and then 2 years later sold the whole thing to United Parcel Service in 2000. And since then I've done turnarounds and have helped a couple of startups on related entities, family and friends, to launch, and they're both very successful. So I am an entrepreneur. So I don't have the academic background, but I sure have the School of Hard Knocks. So I can help you, as a staff can, on what to do and what not to do. Is that my 6 minutes, Ernesto?
No, you're good.
Okay. So we welcome you to the hub. We went to the to Million Cups event in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years. They had 130 people at their event, but they started smaller than we were. So we said we need to bring this to El Paso. So Nancy gets credit for helping organize the committee, making the application to the Compton Foundation. So we are moving forward. We're working very closely with El Paso Community College, UTEP, the engineering groups. This event has been a tremendous catalyst for the Hub of Human Innovation to bring people from different walks of life that are interested in innovation / entrepreneurship. And I'm going to tell you that I think innovation is the key. Because it's not just business. It can be innovation in art, innovation in anything going forward. So it's really important that we get the message out about the Hub, that we network as a community. So I thank many of you are regulars. We have about 2/3 of people that come on a regular basis, and then we're always 1/3 of people new for the first time. It's very healthy for us, and we're excited. In fact, we're making a report to the city because we have a grant for the city of El Paso. And our new mayor, who is an entrepreneur, said he'd like to come and address Million Cups one day. So I'm trying to orchestrate that hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll announce that. So thank you for the opportunity to address you, and then I'm very anxious to take questions, if there are any, from this great group. Adam?
Yes, sir. So you've been around El Paso for a little while.
My whole life.
Right? You're focused right now on incubating entrepreneurs here, probably for a handful of reasons, but really to build a stronger community, create more opportunity here. You know, what do you think the biggest things the community here is facing regarding like entrepreneurs creating new businesses that are going to build a stronger community here?
Well, we're part of an effort. Laurie Bannix is here for Borderplex, and she is our guru here. We are part of a task force to help build an ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship, because it's not here. We have the pieces, and they're loosely aligned, but we're working, and it takes time. It's a very painful process, but through Laurie's leadership and helping this task force, we are bringing the resources together, having discussions about compiling data, getting more info out in the community. So we don't have an ecosystem. It's started in Albuquerque. They're not where they need to be either, but they're way ahead of us. So we saw what they're doing, and we're trying to benchmark against what other successful communities have done in this area. So we want to create the ecosystem so that there are resources, easily available resources for people that want to innovate or start companies. And that's real important to the future of this community. You had a question.
How would you compare this to SCORE? I know there's some similarities, but I'm sure there's also differences as well.
Okay, we have a process, we use the lean startup method. So there are steps 1 through 10. So at some point, mentoring comes into the process. So what I have seen at SCORE, I think scores are kind of like all over the place. In Albuquerque, the SCORE chapter is completely different than the SCORE chapter here. So I think SCORE is a good place for people to get some general ideas, but if you want a disciplined approach to a startup, they hand them off to us all the time. So this is the place to come if you really want to get serious about launching a business enterprise, and we're not going to be here. We'll hold your hand, but there's a little tough love in this also. We're going to tell you what to do and what you should not do, and if you're making a bad mistake, we're going to help you with that. Now, I will raise my hand on one thing I've learned through this process. We don't pick winners and losers. We're going to help you take your idea and figure out if it has a market or not. But that's your decision to make as you go forward. I saw another question in the back over
So
there.
what is the process then for an entrepreneur to get involved? I mean, what do they do? How does
Well,
it
you
work?
become a member of the hub, and it's relatively inexpensive if you're in the ideation or pre-incubation phase. So you get to use these facilities, you get Wi-Fi, you get the free coffee and everything, the mentor program. You get to use these facilities, you get to interact with other people that are hub members. It's a typical business incubator. So we have about 15 groups that are currently in the ideation or pre-startup phase. A couple of them are in the early revenue phase. And they're from soup to nuts. A lot of computer applications, some product, it's a little bit of everything. But we're here to provide professional support and a method. Look, to break it down, there's like 10 steps that you have to follow, and you can't skip any one of them, because if you do, it will come back and bite you. You know, so people say, well, I don't need to do that. I already know how to do this. Okay, well, tell us how you're doing this. Because you know what? You can skip that step now, and then you come back, oh, I really wish I had done this and listened to you afterwards. So we're trying to prevent you from making real critical errors. And people that come through business incubators have about a 50% better chance of succeeding than people that just go free for all. Yes, sir.
When you're talking about creating new businesses, I have an idea for El Paso that I think is really going to jumpstart the economy, but it involves bringing in industry here. What advice or what resources do you have on that level?
Look, we're focused on specific people that have specific ideas.
I do have them, but one of them is possibly with a PAC. A couple of them are one of them I'm looking at is a nonprofit organization, business organization, and it's involving that stuff that she's doing right there. Because the fact that part of the thing is I found with my own projects is one of the things that El Paso has to deal with economically is the fact that the state of New Mexico is running rings around the entire state of Texas for filming.
Well, we would love to sit down with you and discuss how we could help you with those ideas. So we will listen to anyone and their ideas and then figure out if we can go forward from there. Yes, sir.
Joe, you spoke about a healthy ecosystem that you want to create in El Paso. If you can create it for us now, what would that look like?
Okay. Tech Hub de Juarez, they're an incubator on that side. Arrowhead Center in Las Cruces, different setup, but they're also an incubator. We're all following the lean startup method to help incubate companies. So we're all talking from the same page. Okay, the chambers of commerce, city government, state resources. Okay, nonprofits in the community. There's a number of players, the business community, the legal community, the accounting community. We want them, look, we're trying to convince them, look, you want your clients of tomorrow, you have to participate in the process. Things aren't just going to happen. You know, we're in an older society. If they want new clients for their law firms, for their accounting firms, for the banks, they understand we've been successful with the banks on fundraising. Okay, you've got to support building the ecostructure for entrepreneurship and innovation in the community, just like other cities are doing. So, in a perfect world, all these organizations are connected so that we can make a call and get an audience for somebody very quickly. They need some help in this area. Would you sit down with them for an hour and talk to them about their idea? So we want to open doors and have open doors all over the community and free dialogue to help build the future companies and future jobs for El Pasoans. I don't know if that answers your question. Yes, sir.
So you mentioned you don't really pick winners and losers, that kind of plays out on its own. But what kind of companies are you interested in incubating? I know you're interested in innovative companies, but what kind of industries would you say you're interested in?
Well, in a perfect world, we're looking at new technology. So new computer applications, innovation in product, water technologies. We don't turn anybody away. And if it's something that we can't help people with, then we'll refer them to the Small Business Development Center. Like, okay, there's nothing wrong with starting a barbershop or a restaurant, but that's not really what we do.
Sure.
Okay, now, if a restaurant comes to us that's successful and says, hey, we'd like to talk about franchising, they're a client for us because we have resources, people that are heavily involved in franchising and launching that would be glad to sit with them and say, okay, here's what you would need to do that. So there are connections. So there's different resources, and we'll make sure we're not the place for them, that we're just not going to end the conversation, but we can't help. I think we can help everybody and at least point them in the right directions. Yes, sir.
You mentioned how you'll sit down with anybody to see if you're the most appropriate vehicle for helping them move their business along. And so is there sort of an interview or a vetting process that before one becomes a hub member to just see before we sign up that we're even right for each other?
Oh, absolutely. We'll sit down with you, Nancy or I or Ernesto, make an appointment, come in. You don't necessarily need an appointment, but we hate for you to come and we're out or with somebody else. So you just make a very general appointment. We'll sit down and we'll talk with you. Okay, we listen. We've learned to listen very well first, make recommendations. Sometimes people come, we tell them, we don't think you're ready for this yet. There's some steps in this process. So we're going to give you real advice. I think that's the thing, not blue skies. If there's anything that we're doing here, we're being real honest and forthcoming and encouraging to people. So we're not here to discourage, we're here to encourage, but also to be pragmatic and realistic in the advice that we give.
Joe, our particular group here to the left, Digital World Creative, we frequent the hub in Juarez. What is your current connection with the hub in Juarez, and is there one now, or do you plan to build on it, or maybe I'm just wrong and just don't know the y'all's connection?
Well, we have an agreement with Tech Hub at Juarez, so there's a cubicle with a picture of their place over there, so their clients get to use our facilities if they're doing work on this side of the border, and our clients get to use their facilities when they're working over there. And one of our clients has used their facilities extensively for meetings and presentations. Ricardo Mora, who is one of the founders of Tech Hub, is on our board of directors. He's been extremely helpful to me in my short tenure here at the Hub of Innovation to help me get forward, and donates tremendously of his time and resources to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in the entire region, not just in Juarez. So we work pretty closely with them, and they're new too. We've been at it since 2011. They've been at it like a year and a half. So there's a lot. We're both going forward. The dynamics of Juarez are different than El Paso, but we have lots of things in common.
Yes,
so we really try and support each other as much as possible.
Their location's outstanding.
It's a beautiful location. Yeah. In a perfect world, we all have facilities like that.
Correct.
This space here, for your information, is donated. The owner of the building, Miguel Fernandez Jr., who's on our board, is a big techie and a big supporter of innovation and entrepreneurship. He donates this 3,000 square feet of office space to us. So somebody has that believes, and I know he's also involved in Tech Hub de Juarez, and supports a number of other initiatives in the community here. So there's some people, you don't hear their names, they're not household names, and they don't really want the notoriety, but they're clearly in it because they see what the future is for our community. I saw another hand up. Adam, did you have another question?
Yeah, well, not a question, it's kind of like a comment, you know, I mean, you and I are talking, I'm an entrepreneur here, I've done different things over the years in my life, and when I started my business, I reached out to the SBA, I reached out to SCORE, I came and spoke with you, I spoke with a handful of different people, but I really got frustrated with the SBA, I got really frustrated with SCORE, and from a personal standpoint, I felt like the SBA and the SBDC, they really just were trying to hit their quotas, and I don't even think they even tried to help me finish my business plan and look at it. And like from other entrepreneurs in the community that I feel have gone out looking for help, that cannot afford help, but that are dedicated to building, I feel like there's like dead-end roads. And when we were talking about building an environment, building an ecosystem, it's very important because people have to have something to look up to. They have to have something to be inspired by. They have to have something to learn from. And I feel like that's what you're talking about, building an ecosystem here. I think it's really important for the organizations that are involved with this, that are trying to build an ecosystem, that aren't just looking at hitting the statistics or hitting their quotas or doing what they're required to sign off and get a good review by their supervisor. And a lot of these positions are people that are getting paid salary, they don't have, you know, in their defense, they don't have a diverse background or enough experience in every area for every business. But those are some of the frustrations that I've dealt with. And other people that I know have dealt with similar situations, not everybody, but some people have had good experiences with the SBA and SBDC. But those are issues that I deal with, and I feel like that if I'm feeling those frustrations, and I spend a lot of time Googling and researching and reading and learning and watching videos, and in many different areas it's possible, but it's always this learning process, but having mentors, having people to talk to, having peers, and having those situations, that's why I come here. That's why I come here to listen, to speak, to be able to have those opportunities. But I hope that some of the people that are working and that are committed to building this ecosystem outside of the people here really start learning to look to see what other people are doing, trying to figure out how to help the little people too. Because there's some businesses here that are just as important to sustainability in the community, that are going to help build better neighborhoods and better families, and in a small time that aren't big companies that don't fit the things. And those are like my big concerns where I don't have the experience or time or money to go and help everybody and do those things, even if I had that experience. I don't have that opportunity, but there are definitely people like me that need it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, building the ecosystem is going to help connect the dots so that the SBDC and the SBA and People Fund and the other resources, Esther's here for People Fund, we can connect the dots, and so there's not this drop-off. And look, I don't like the term little people, no disrespect. No, we're here to promote small business. The future of this community, the second part of an economic development model, a successful one, is the creation organically of new businesses that provide employment opportunities in this community and helping existing businesses scale. So that's as important, maybe more important than bringing the ADPs and the credentials and those companies to this community. So am I out of time, or do I have a couple more minutes? Okay. Yes, sir.
How do you see the fact that, how do you address this issue here when you're talking about growing the economy and so forth? El Paso, as I found out from my building project, is going through a very serious brain drain. Because one in my industry that I'm working in here, and it is here, is filming stuff. There are not really the jobs that people from the youth have who are getting these great degrees, regardless of whatever part of the spectrum it is, and they leave, and El Paso loses. How do you, how are you bringing that kind of thing in there, and the fact that we're going through a brain drain?
Well, let me give you an example. We've been doing a tremendous amount of outreach with the College of Engineering at UTEP for the last 2 semesters. And we've been allowed to present, because of the varying degree level programs, we've been able to present to almost every one of them. And the interim dean is going to invite the heads of the colleges here for a lunch, and we hope that the new dean will also, to talk about the future for engineering graduates. Because UTEP had really been focused on preparing them to go to work for Lockheed Martin and Boeing and other companies. So they're really focused on giving engineering students an option. Hey, you've got a couple of ways you can go. You can go that track, or we can help you through your undergraduate career to get involved in innovative and entrepreneurial activities that promote creativity that a number of you may band together and maybe want to launch your own venture. Because I have been to help judge some competitions, some senior days like in electrical engineering. The talent, creative talent of these students would just blow you away. They do these projects as part of their graduation. They design the software to go with them, the mechanical components of it. They've taken ideas they've been chartered with. Many people don't understand that. How do we harness that for El Paso? Well, things like the hub and moving forward with Borderplex, we're trying to create the ecosystem so that they feel that they have the support to come forward with a venture and launch it in this community. So I don't have a quick and easy answer, but I think we do it a piece at a time. Yes, sir.
One of the things that I feel, as born and raised El Pasoan, I have a small business and then working on another potential project that my colleague Hunt and I are in the process of putting together. But more importantly, one of the things that I think we've both noticed, and it's not everywhere, but occasionally, is maybe ecosystem of what we're trying to build towards, but I also see also a lack of enthusiasm about believing in El Paso and El Pasoans about, as much as the resources to do it would be fantastic to have available, and it's certainly a part of the equation. I think sometimes maybe a way of getting El Pasoans to really invest, not just in El Paso itself, but understanding that El Paso really does have a pool of fantastically talented people doing all sorts of cool things in all sorts of industries, and getting those folks to really just see El Paso as a fantastic city to potentially start a business and thrive. But I think a lot of times I feel like there's sometimes, not with everybody, there's a lot of really enthusiastic people around here, but from time to time just some pessimism about, oh, El Paso can't be that, or El Paso will never be, it'll never be this city or that city. The list goes on, and I just feel like just Google famous El Pasoans and whatever they're doing. It's amazing so many people all over the country are from El Paso. It's just amazing to not that same energy stays here. As much as it's resources, but also like enthusiasm sometimes is not as high as I wish it was.
Well, let's reduce it to its common denominator. I think you have that in every city. You have people that grew up in Southern California that end up being famous in Chicago, Illinois, or something. It's kind of the trend of our country. But the pessimism comes from a history where we were an underachieving community. So I can tell you, look, myself and others in this community have volunteered themselves. Look, we have to give back. And to create a thriving community, everybody has to pitch in. It's not somebody's job. It's all of us. It's this kind of event. It's all of you talking about innovation and entrepreneurship. It's the universities getting more involved, community college getting more involved, Borderplex, who's committed to this. We're behind, okay? I'll raise my hand to that. But I think we're making progress, and unfortunately, it's like turning a battleship or an aircraft carrier. We made some bad turns in the past, but there are some innovative things going on. We just don't get the message out as much as we could. I mean, David Niemer here, who's an engineer, is part of a startup that's offices here at the Hub and has created some amazing technology. So we have cases like that all over the community. They just don't get the attention other than at events like Million Cups. So, piece at a time. It's building blocks, but you know what the positive part comes from? All of you. Because we're not accepting the status quo. And as we grow forward in that, I think there's a whole bunch of people that don't accept the status quo, or that, I call it the Pobrecito mentality. El Paso can't do that. El Paso can do that.
Okay, one more. What about within the state of Texas? Because sometimes even in Texas, I feel like El Paso is in the neglected corner of our state, and not just politically, that's all aside, but I'm just talking about when it comes to, when they talk about cities in Texas and for whatever reason, as a lifelong El Paso, I just feel like we're one of the last ones to be named when they start pointing out places. Not just in this, but just in general.
Guess whose fault that is?
Ours.
Okay, look, it's a famous story about the neglecting of El Paso. There's one piece of pie. Do you think that the rest of them decided that they were just going to get it and they were going to share it with everyone? No. They've been ahead of us. Look, I'll end with one thing. Am I almost out of time, Ernesto? Okay. 30 years ago, El Paso was ahead of Phoenix, Albuquerque, Tucson. We were the most dynamic city in the Southwest. What happened? We still don't have the answer for that. So we can either continue, we made some bad, I think our forefathers in the past made some decisions not thinking about the future and how we needed to plan for the evolution of this community. Okay, that being said, all right, that's done. So it's real easy to move forward when you know where you're at. So we have a lot of ground to make up to establish our position, but we have to earn our spot. Nobody's going to give us anything. And by working hard at it in the business sectors, in our connections, across the board, not just politics, but that's one of the areas, then we'll move forward. And I think I really believe it being objective. Because I can criticize because I'm born and raised here. I think we're doing a lot better than we had. I can look back 15 years. I'm 64 years old now. And we are a lot of years ahead of where we were 15 years ago. So it's always there. We just have to keep moving forward. Thank you very much for the opportunity. If you have any interest at all in bringing in an idea, make an appointment with us to come and talk to us about how the hub may be helping. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Joe. I think we still need a picture.
Okay. Wait, on this side?
Yeah, Nancy's sticker on the procedure. Okay.
Oh, get the mug.
Yes. All about the mug. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Give this one away.
Okay. The other lady who was here from out of town.
I'll bring it, I'll take it to her.
All right.
Thank you all.
Okay, so we're just about done. Real quick though, if you did not sign in when you got here, please do so on your way out. It's very, very important. We have to keep track of our attendees. We have to report it back to Kaufman and our other supporters that are making these events possible. Also, please sign up to present. We know you're out there. You guys need to present your business or your idea that you're working on. And lastly, come back, see us, bring a friend, tell everybody you know about us. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Just drop the mic. Thank you all.